Hello, guys.
Hello, everybody. I'm
We're
getting ready for work.
and I'm getting ready for work. Cynthia, what are we going to talk about today?
Okay, we are going to be talking about this book, 10 Blind Dates, in honor
Yes.
of February 14th coming around, Valentine's Day or St. Valentine's Day.
If you did like stars, how many stars would you give it out of like five?
If the ending was different, I would have given it like at least a 4.5 star. But I'm ranging it from like not sappy, but like a romantic, like easy read.
But get started, Cynthia. What happens at the beginning of this book?
So what's her name again? Sophie, right.
You're
Her grandma
trying.
lives in one city, and then her family, no, her sister lives in one city. Her parents are going to go to her sister's house because her sister's pregnant. They want to help her. It's around
Oh,
the holidays, so they're going to go visit her sister. But Sophie begged her parents to stay at home. She stays in South Louisiana to hang out with her friend. Her name starts with an A. Sophie's friend's name is Addie, and then her
okay.
boyfriend's name is Griffin. We will get into that.
Griffin? Okay.
She stays back. She's texting them, and then they invite her to a party. She makes it to the party, and then she's like looking for her boyfriend all over the place, and his friends are like, "Oh, he's in there somewhere." So she goes in, and then I think she meets up with Addie. I could be wrong, but at some point they see each other, and then one of them goes off, and then Sophie goes to the kitchen. So she hears Griffin talking to his other friend saying that, oh, Sophie's just so boring and I want to try something new. I want, like, she used to be so fun and our relationship was really exciting in the past and now it's just boring. And then I think his
Screw
friend,
you, Griffin. Oh my
right?
gosh.
Right? And then I think his friend goes, well, do you want to be with her anymore? And he's like, I don't know. And then she makes a noise. And then his friend looks around and they were like, oh crap. And then Griffin's like, no. And then she sprints out of the house. And then I think Addie's following her. And then Griffin is also chasing after her. And she makes it to her car after tripping or something over something. And then he goes, wait. And then she's like, what? And then he's like, turn around. And then she's like, is that what you want? And then he was like, well, I don't know what I want. It's senior year. We're going to college. She drives to her Nona's house. And then she's sitting on the porch and crying. And then her Nona comes out and then she's like, honey, what's wrong? And then she plops down right next to her. And then she's just holding her and Sophie is just crying. And then her sister texts her, and then she kind of tells her sister what's going on. In the next chapter, her Nona goes, oh, we are going to put you on 10 dates to get over Griffin. To pick the time and the place. You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is show up. Sophie's like, what? I don't want to do that. And then the grandma's like, no, there's no no's. So the first official date, blind date, is Olivia's pick. That's her cousin. Oh, sorry. Her cousin. This one is Festival of Lights. Nachi Nachitochis? Nachitoches. It says to be ready by 2 p.m. Dress warm because baby it's cold outside. Her date's name is Seth. Where are you? Steph Whitman.
Okay.
So they go to this festival. So Olivia is with her boyfriend, and then Sophie is with Seth. And they have a really good time. They go ice skating. They throw snowballs at each other. He gets her something. He gets her like food or something.
Nice.
They're just talking, and then he goes, I would love to go on another date with you. This was so fun. So if you ever want to hang out again, just reach out to me. I would love to go on another date. And she was like, yeah, so this one was really good. Oh, and then they do this thing where they take a picture of her on the date, and then Olivia or Charlie or Wes will post the picture of her with her date and then tag Griffin in it. So he's jealous.
Roasted. That's nice.
I did love that addition in each chapter because every chapter they did it. And then the next date is Aunt Patrice Aunt Patrice's pick. The next chapter is the Living Nativity Eagles Nest Middle School. Be ready at 4 p.m. Your outfit is in the laundry. So for this one, it was the Nativity one. And I was like, when I was reading this chapter, I was like, what in the heck is this?
Uh-oh.
His name is Harold Riggs, and he's a freshman at Eagles Nest High School. A
A
freshman.
freshman?
So he's 15 years old, Harold Riggs.
That's so weird. Why would they do that to her?
Yeah. So she is Mary and he is Joseph in the play. So Harold slips his arm around her back and then he keeps going down. And
Trauma.
he touches
Ew.
her butt again. And throughout this whole date, he was doing it again and again and again. Sophie had had enough. And she says, if you try to touch my butt one more time, I will hold you down while I let this go eat your pants starting at the crotch. Understood? And he's like, yes, ma'am. Charlie, her other cousin, goes, his name is 100 Hands Harold. Okay, so the next day is December 22nd. This is the next chapter. This is Charlie's pick, so this is her cousin's pick. So
Okay.
this is an ugly sweater party at 6:30 p.m. And yes, you have to wear an ugly sweater. This one I don't really remember, so that means this date was probably not memorable for me because I remember Seth and Harold's date, but I don't remember this one. His name is Judd. Yeah, I really don't remember anything about this chapter. Well, there is a small snippet about Wes, because Wes is
Okay.
this girl named Laurel, and none of the four like her. She's the type to
Ah.
my way or the highway, and she's very like, I want to do this. We got to do this right now. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a terrible date because this wasn't one of the top five worst of the dates, but it's not
Uh-huh.
that memorable. Okay, next date, Wednesday, December 23rd. Sarah's pick. And I have no idea who Sarah is. So it's an underground Christmas, 8 p.m. formal attire, and then she said that she would love to go shopping with her. Oh wait, Sarah, actually, Sarah is Charlie's little sister. Oh, I remember this one now. So she texts her sister, Margot, it's underground Christmas. And then Margot goes, I'm not sure if you're ready for this. And then she says, there's going to be naked people there, lots of skin and nakedness. And then the naked people usually have food on them that you're supposed to eat. So Addie actually brought over the dress from her older sister. So this guy is Paolo Reis. So Paolo and Sophie have a great date. He says he kicked it off with a girl that he was previously talking to, so he's hoping that something happens with her. And then Sophie's cheering him on. He drops her off at home, and then Wes is there. Everyone's there, and then everyone leaves but Wes. And then they manage to find some alone time on the porch, and then they're messing around and teasing each other, and she hits his shoulder, and her hand lingers there, and Wes goes,
He
and
did
then
not.
they're like leaning in, and then the porch door opens. But dun dun dun. Nona comes out and says that Margot is in critical condition. So then it leads to the next chapter, which is Christmas Eve, Thursday, December 24th. It's her free day. So Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and Day, I think she has a break, but Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, she has a break. So no date.
That's good.
Okay, so what happens on the 24th? Soph talks to her mom, and her mom explains that they had emergency C-section for Margot. He's gonna need to stay in the NICU, which is like the
Um, the baby emergency stuff.
Baby's
Is
name
it a
is
boy or a girl?
Girl. Oh,
I'm probably
sorry.
gonna find out from the name.
Yes. Baby's
Okay.
name is Anna Sophia. At the very end of this chapter, Sophie decides that she wants to go visit Margot, and she's 3 hours
Uh,
away. And then the Fab Four is what they call themselves when they were younger.
oh,
They want to go with her, and they force themselves to go with her because they didn't want her to drive all by herself. So they end up in the car together. They wanted to make sure that they went Christmas Eve night so that they could make it back in time for like early Christmas morning.
hmm.
End of this chapter, they're still on the drive. And then the beginning of next chapter, they finally make it to the hospital where her sister is. She sees the baby first. So she goes and meets the baby, and then she sees her all hooked up to the machines in the little basket. Margot's like, our parents will kill you if they find out that you drove all this way. And then she's like, no, the Fab Four are waiting in the, I mean, the Fab Three are waiting in the car. So I didn't go by myself. And basically, so the rest of this chapter, they're just catching up and telling each other everything. And then Margot's telling her about all of her worries. They end up making it to Nona's house an hour before sunrise. And then Nona is in the kitchen and she's like, how's Margot? But she's not looking up. She's like cracking eggs and she's like, how's Margot?
Okay, so Margot's in the NICU and everybody's sad.
Yes. So she ends up going back to her room and then she's like, oh, how's everything going? And then Sophie's like, oh, it's going okay, blah, 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 blah. They finish the conversation. And then Olivia goes, oh my gosh, there's a gift for you under the tree. So then she opens it
Ooh.
and there's two letters that are hanging from a bracelet. It's a charm bracelet. SNG. So there's a note at the bottom of the box, and it says, Sophie, saw this bracelet while I was shopping with my mom yesterday and thought of you. I think these letters look good together, don't you? Merry Christmas, Griffin. And then it goes on to the next day, Saturday, December 26th, Evil Joe's pick. Right, Nathan. He's like, should we grab something to eat and then catch the movie? Because it was a movie, so.
We're going to the freaking movie theater.
No, they're going to a drive-in theater. And then she's scanning the cars and she's like, have you noticed that all the other cars only have one person in there with them? There's no couples or anything. Okay,
Okay.
so muscular Santa comes on the screen wearing only pants and a hat. Yeah, and there seems to be a great deal of oil lathered all over his chest. The
Yikes.
elves start talking about how bad they've been, and then they take everything off, and then Santa takes everything.
Put me on the naughty list, Santa.
You know what? They probably did say that.
They did. I bet
They
they
probably
had
did.
to.
And then some stuff goes on in the radio, and she's like, and then she whips around to Nathan, and his eyes are glued to the screen, and then he looks at her, and he's like,
No. No. No, 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 no.
so she jumps out of the car into the gift shop, and she's in there, and then she calls Wes. Nathan is like jumped out of his car after she got in the bathroom, and then he's going over there, and then Sophie is like, tell him the date is over. This is it. I'm not continuing this date. He's gone. So she stays in there until Wes comes and picks her up.
Action.
Okay. So it's December 27th, Sunday. Blind date number 6, Aunt Camille's pick. It's show your team spirit because you've got tickets on center ice. Shreveport Mudbugs versus Odessa Jackalopes. Be ready at 2:30. Puck drops at 3. So it's a hockey game. This hockey game is also bring your pooch day, so you're allowed to bring your doggy. Okay, so she's going on a date with Wyatt. This is the part that I like the most about this date was that they got to play with puppies. So Aunt Camille said that this was the perfect opportunity because she was watching puppies, so she just put them in the little cubicle so they could
Oh.
watch the puppies. Olivia, Charlie, and Wes scream her name from the back and then say like, oh, we're here, don't worry, have fun. And then all of a sudden, everybody jumps inside the little what's it called again? The little booth, the little
Like the
thing that
box or whatever. Hmm.
box that they're in. They all join during intermission. So she slides on over to Wes, but he's sitting on the arm of the couch and his eyes are glued on the ice. And this is where Griffin's bracelet comes back into play. Because guess what's on her wrist?
Why on earth is she wearing it?
So he's thinking things in his brain, and she's allowing him to think him because she won't say anything about the dumb bracelet that she put on. Oh, so they get they get on the ice, and then
Hmm.
she's like almost falling because this girl does not know how to skate. So she's about to fall, and somebody grabs her by the waist.
I wonder who.
She thought it was Wyatt, but it's Wes. And then he tells her to shuffle her feet instead of trying to walk. So you shuffle like this.
That is safer.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. So the kiss cam comes on. Every game has a kiss cam. So
They do.
it goes around the crowd. And then there's an announcement. So the announcer says we have a very special couple with us tonight, Sophie and Wyatt. I was like, oh gosh. And then now they're on the big screen, and then everybody's like, kiss, it's their first date. So everybody's
Dude.
yelling, and like everybody in the arena are yelling and getting up and saying, kiss. And then she is slowly like, she looks at Wyatt and then she's glancing around and then she sees Wes. And then he's like trying not to pay attention. He's not looking at her at all. And then when they almost get ready to, he leaves. They end up getting in the car after the game is over. And then she was like, oh, this was a pretty weird date, right? And he's like, eh. And then he mentions, don't take this the wrong way, but I think you'd have rather gone on this date with Wes. This guy knows. He's
She
seen
knows.
it. And then she's like, what are you talking about?
She's
We're
like,
just
he's just a friend.
we're just friends. And Wyatt leans in, gives her a friendly hug, and then he's like, good luck with Wes.
I like him. I like Wyatt.
Aunt Maggie May's pick is next, so this date is over. Okay, so what Aunt Maggie May put on the board says it may be chilly outside, but this fire should keep you warm 4 p.m. So that's like the little for the next
Little
date.
thingamajig. Uh-huh.
Griffin is standing at the doorway, and then Charlie goes, no way, not happening. And then Griffin moves forward, and then he's like, Sophie, I just want to talk to you. If you don't want to go out with me, I'll completely understand.
Said that 15 times, Griffin.
He apparently reached out to Aunt Maggie May, who is the evil Joe's mom, and said that he was practically begging me to pick him up. Nona allowed her to have one free pass. If she didn't want to go on the date, she didn't have to. And it was only one free pass. And she goes, she looks at him, she looks at Nona, and she's like, Nona, I'm using the card, no questions asked. We're not doing this.
And she should just throw that bracelet in his face.
She's like, I can't go on a date with you tonight. And then she's like, I have too much things to worry about, like my sister. I need to go visit her. And then he's like, well, okay, then I'll come and pick you up. I mean, I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up. I will take you there. Excuse
Does
me.
this count as a date?
No, it doesn't count as a date.
No. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you said it was a date.
it's not a date.
Okay.
It's not a
He's
date.
driving. Okay.
He's just driving her there and he's going to leave after that. So, not a date. But the
Hmm.
sad thing is, Olivia had offered to go with her earlier in the day,
Oh.
and then she said, no, it's all right. But the minute Griffin says that he'll drive her, she said, okay. And then they finally get to the hospital, and then he's like, so this is it? And she's like, yeah, this is it. And then he's like, so we're over officially? And she's like, yep. They try to go up to Margot's room, and then a few seconds later, guess who shows up into the hospital?
Well,
But it's everybody, including him.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, but mostly Wes.
Mm-hmm. Her whole family's there. And then Olivia tackles her with a hug, and then Charlie tackles them both with a hug. And then
And Wes tackles her with a kiss. I'm joking.
Sophia Patrick will be a member of House Lannister. We'll be living on a spare because we don't give a split. So strike a pose and be ready at 6. It'll be a gutterlicious. House Lannister, so they're channeling some Game of Thrones.
I knew that reference.
They go and get their outfits, and then she's actually dressed as Arya Stark. So after a few rounds, she finally goes up there. Um, and then her family's like, "Oh, great." Because she's going up the bowl. They're like, "Oh no." So then Wes is standing right next to her, and he's like, "You need to take your first step with the same hand you hold the bowling ball with." So he's trying to give her pointers. So he's like guiding her leg and her arm at the same time.
That's a lot of contact.
And then he's like, now go for it. She's like, oh my God, I did it. And then she throws herself at him with her arms around his neck. And then his hands grip her waist and pulls her in close. And then he's like, you're a natural. His name is Jason. And there was another cousin like he locked eyes with and thought that was Sophie. And then he's like, this is Sophie. And then they go, no. And then they're like, this is Sophie. And he's like, oh, it's fine. He's all right. He's all right. He's completely looking at Sarah the whole time, but he's all right. So they return their shoes to the counter. She hugs him briefly. He's a really nice guy, but maybe Sarah should have gone on the date with him. Okay. Wednesday, December 30th, blind date number 9. We're on our almost last one. Almost.
Okay,
Blind date
blow through them.
on the board written there is Nona's birthday party, 7 p.m. Wes comes into the door. Everybody's standing in the kitchen, and Wes like comes in the door. And then Papa's like, where's Peter? And then he was like, Peter got sick, and then texted me that he was throwing up all over the break room. And then finally Wes appears by her side. She saw Laurel leave half an hour ago, but this is the first time that he approached her the whole night. Before they get to sit down and eat at the table, he's like, we should dance first. So he pulls her arm, and then the band is playing a slow song. There's
Yeah.
several people on the dance floor, including Jason and Sarah. Jason was the guy previous. It takes like a million trips to get to Nona's house. Oh, Papa's so sweet. He kisses Nona's head and then says, happy birthday, my sweet girl. I will have to write this on the board. And she's like, dear Sophie, a treasure to be sure. Let me just say I've enjoyed your stay. Like your mother, you are a sweet soul. And there's one more date until you're done. So be ready by 2 p.m. The last chapter. Thursday, December 31st, blind date number 10, Nona's pick. Dear Sophie, a treasure to be sure. Let me just say I've enjoyed your stay. Like your mother, you are a sweet soul. And there's one more date until you're done, so be ready by 2 p.m. And then she's like, how'd you get Dallas out of that? Look at the letter of each sentence. If you look at it, it spells out Dallas.
Oh, I see.
And Sophie's like, so where's my date? And then Nona goes, we've all chosen your date for the last 9 dates, but tonight is different. And then she hands her 4 tickets. Tonight, it's your choice. 2 of these tickets are for you and your date. The other 2 are for the other couple already in the car. Have a wonderful time. She dashes for the front door. Wes is still in the driveway, but he's staring at the car at the curb. And then he drops his ball as she's racing towards him. And then she holds up tickets. She's like, Nona got tickets to a music festival in Dallas, and I get to pick my date. I pick you. I hope you say yes. Slow grin spreads across his face, and he says, yes. And then he pulls her in close with his hands on her waist. And then he's like, do we have to wait until the end of the day to kiss you? Because I've been waiting to do it a really long time. And then Sophie, before he could say anything else, she closes the distance, and then her lips land on his, and her arms wrap around his neck, and then she's like, it doesn't take him long to catch up because his hands are pushing her hair. They finally get to the place, and then they're listening to music, having a fun time, and then they're counting down because it's New Year's Eve. So
Right.
while each time they count down, he plants a different kiss all along her neck. And when the singer gets to one, Wes's lips fall on hers to a soft and sweet at first, but it deepens as people shout, Happy New Year! 3 months later. I'm just going to skip to the end. Margot and Anna are happy. They're visiting each other. I was so upset when I read this.
Oh.
Whatever this is I'm doing with Wes doesn't have a label. He's not my boyfriend, and I'm not his girlfriend. We're best friends who kiss a lot.
See, see, this is what's wrong with our modern world. Nobody can commit to anything anymore.
If this is the arrangement that they were talking about, they're literally friends with benefits. The end.
Okay.
This is how
Yeah.
it ended. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I love and miss you.
Oh, love and miss you too. This was fun.
It was fun.